Welcome. Let's discuss some of the tricky questions from psychology. So the very first question talks about the term predictive processing. Now, predictive processing suggests that brain mainly functions as a continuous generating and operating model to understand or predict any sensory input that comes. So let's say you are walking on the road, you have a sensory prediction of the world around you, the place around you, and that would be continuously generating and updating your internal models. Now, from let's say area, you reach to another area which could be a slum area, so there you would be able to predict your sensory inputs based on the information you already have and your correct information that you are visualizing, and you can predict what you could actually find. There could be discrepancies that could exist between the predictions and the actual input, but that is acquired through learning and perception. So this is one of the very interesting questions that has been asked. Now, to practice more questions, you can just go on to the study material and the lecture series which is available here. Of course, the postal material has the complete information, so that's something that you can again go for. The next is a very important question, which is a concept of third wave. Now, the characteristics of third wave cognitive behavioral therapies, which is the CBT therapies. These CBT therapies, the third wave of CBT therapies includes ACT, which is the acceptance and commitment theory, the DBT, which is the dialectic behavior therapy. Now, how we distinguish this third wave of CBTs with the traditional CBT? The major idea is the idea of mindfulness, values, and acceptance, which is part of the third wave. So it focuses on directly challenging and questioning the negative thoughts, and therefore there is more idea of acceptance, commitment, the idea to help individual relate their thoughts and feelings which are different, and that was not the case with the traditional cognitive therapies, and these are actually seen in the new version of the therapies. The next is neuroplasticity. Now, we have covered neuroplasticity comprehensively in the postal material, but it's really a tricky concept. The idea is to reorganize the connections with response to the real world experience or learning. Now, this is an ability of the brain which actually helps it to adapt to a new concept, change the structure over time, change the or build the new neural connections as required. So this is the basis underlying concept between learning, perception, recovering from a brain injury. So that's only because of the plasticity of the neurons, of the brain structure, that we are able to have new formations of neural connections. The next is the term grit. Now, grit is extensively used in positive psychology. The idea is, whenever we say that yes, I would get sustained, I would be sustained towards my task, or I would have perseverance towards my task to achieve my long-term goals, that is what is a concept of grit. So this concept was given by Duckworth, and Duckworth actually talked about a deep passion which is required to have achieve those long-term goals, and without those deep passion there could be no perseverance, there could be setbacks, there could be challenges that could be met, but all those are overcome only with your passion and perseverance. So that is one that drives you to work hard. The next is, in the recent researches in developmental psychology, we have focused on the term bidirectional influence. Now, what does bidirectional influence means? Bidirectional influence means that individual would affect the environment would affect the individual. So it's bidirectional. We cannot say that we are the one who are only affected by environment, or it is just the individuals who are affecting the environment. It is bidirectional. So let's say there is a small child. The temperament of the child can be influenced by how the parent would interact with the child, and in turn the parent's behavior would also be shaped by the development development of the child, right? If the child is very cranky, there could be changes in the parents' behavior that could be observed. If the child is very docile, there would be changes in the parents' behavior that would be observed as well, right? So there is a bidirectional influence. It's not just from parent to child, but it is also from child to parent in this example that we can see. And this is the basic idea of the bidirectional influence concept under developmental psychology. So those were some of the relatively tricky questions that we have picked up. But of course, if you want to practice more, stay more attuned with the concepts, I do recommend that you cover the 2 books completely, and this would definitely help you crack your JRF. So wish you all the best. Thanks for joining in. Have a great day. We'll be of course coming up with many sessions ahead. Stay tuned.